All right, let's talk a little bit about food. It is one of our favorite topics here on the Grow Omaha show, and you may have noticed earlier this year we launched a new series called Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen, and these are our official restaurant reviews. And Sarah is the premier food critic in Omaha. Many of you know her from her days at the World Herald, and more importantly, we hope you know her now for the reviews that she writes as part of the Grow Omaha team. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here, and I don't think we've ever officially welcomed you to the Grow Omaha team on the radio. We are glad you're part of the team.
Yeah, we have.
I'm glad I'm part of the team.
But in person, on the video, watch this video when it comes out on our YouTube channel, because Sarah never, your picture was never in the World Herald. For the 8 years you're in the World Herald and did reviews, you were incognito.
Pretty much, yeah. I wasn't fully incognito because in the world of social media, it's silly to think you can be completely anonymous, but yeah, my picture didn't run in the paper. There was a drawing of me that ran in the paper a few times, but a lot of people told me the drawing didn't look anything like me, so I was still incognito.
you were able to keep this disguise.
Yeah. But I'd imagine when you go to restaurants a couple times to review the restaurants and stuff, you've been around long enough now that people know who you are. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing at least the chefs do.
Yeah, I have some rules I follow that I still follow that I followed like the entire time. So I don't make reservations, or if I make one, I don't make it under my own name. So they don't know. I try to make it so they don't know I'm coming. But I kind of, truly actually believe that, when I walk into the restaurant, there's really nothing they can do. Like, they can't reinvent the whole thing. Like, it's going to be whatever it is. And so
they can up the service maybe.
Maybe they can do that. Yeah. But no, I think they do their best if they know it's me. I hope they do their best if they don't know it's me.
It's kind of ironic because when I make reservations now, I make them under Sarah Baker Hansen. and
you never have to wait.
Boy, are they pissed when it goes, oh, she's coming. Yeah, she's coming.
Or it's more like, she looks like that?
Yeah.
So, Sarah, how'd you get into this food critic business?
So I actually studied journalism at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and my journalism study had an emphasis in criticism. So I was always really interested in like being a critic. What did it take? How did you do that? So I first studied visual art criticism. And so for many years after I graduated from UNL, I worked as a freelance art critic for the Omaha Reader. Wrote about visual art, did a bunch of different shows about visual art, and then wrote a book about Nebraska called The Insider's Guide to Omaha and Lincoln.
Things I Hate in Nebraska. So let's talk about that.
Wait, no, the book's not about things I hate in Nebraska.
Tell the story first.
You can go ahead.
No, but sorry. Before you tell us about the book, tell us about the word critic. Is critic a negative word?
Well, I think it could be seen as a lot of people see it as a negative word. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think, now that I'm on the Grow Omaha team, I think it's fun to think about the role that a critic can play in the food scene. Like you can, I think I've been writing about food for almost a decade now in Omaha. So if people have read what I write, they know what I like and they know what I don't. And so they either agree with me or they disagree with me. But either way, they're interested. They're going to go try something maybe. They're going to have something they haven't had before. Or they're going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. And if I don't like it and they love it, that's fine too. Like, I feel like kind of one of the big goals of criticism is to get a reaction out of people. And if you are getting a reaction, if people feel like they want to comment or talk to you or go try it themselves, like that to me is the goal of criticism. So that's kind of what I always try to aim for.
Because obviously a lot of your reviews have very positive things too, and you'll point out things that aren't so positive.
Yeah.
But so critical can just mean that you analyze something and it could be positive.
Yeah.
In your definition.
Yeah, I think it can be positive or negative, and the way I've always done my reviews and the way I continue to do them for Grow Omaha is I do an interview. And so a lot of critics don't do that. Like if you read a New York Times restaurant review, there's no interview in it. It's just one person's opinion. And it is so subjective. So I've always felt like the interview does really add something to it, especially because sometimes the interview, you learn things about the restaurant that you would never know. So I'm really excited about the review I have coming up next week because I feel like I just know the interview is going to be great. And I know we're going to learn things about this restaurant that we would have never known, that I can't tell you the origin story of, but when I do the interview, then I can. And so I think it kind of turns it into sort of, it's me being critical if I don't like something or praising it if I do, but it's also got this story element to it that I think a lot of people connect with.
And owners and chefs will admit to things or just say, this is why that was this, and we're changing this, and please give us another chance, or whatever. But I like that that give and take. Yeah,
and I like talking to chefs and restaurant owners because, oftentimes there's really interesting reasons of why they do things. And even if I don't like it, if there's an interesting reason, we'll put it in there. I mean, it's worth having a conversation about.
Well, tell us about your first book.
So my first book is called The Insider's Guide to Omaha and Lincoln. It was part of an international travel guide series. It was the first book written in this style, in this series, about Omaha and Lincoln. And so the biggest section of that book, which I wrote in my free time, was about food. And so I started thinking about, growing up in Omaha, always living here, loving writing about restaurants. It was sort of my first, it popped into my head, like maybe I could do something about restaurants or something about food. And then as fate would have it, the food critic that was at the World Herald before me quit.
Was that Jim Delmont?
No, it was Nicole Askemet.
Okay, I remember that.
And
Jim was before her?
Yes. And
how do I know that?
I know. You've got a real institutional history of the World Herald there. And so anyway, I started doing freelance stories for them about visual art, actually. And then right about that time, the critic left, and so they asked me, did I want to write a restaurant review? And so I said yes, because who wouldn't want to write a restaurant review?
Yeah, twist an arm.
Yeah. So I did 3 reviews as a freelancer, and then I got the job. So that's how it started.
And then, so you're now working in public relations and marketing.
Yeah. Now I direct public relations at M Space in Lovegren. It's a really fun job. So I do that during the day. And then this is my side hustle. Hanging out with you guys, writing food reviews. It's not too bad. It's pretty sweet, actually.
It's not a bad side hustle.
No.
You have to put up with us.
We're a posse.
We're a wolf pack.
Have you been banned from? And you probably wanted to be anyway. But has any restaurant owner said, put your picture on the wall, say she's not allowed in or something?
No one's ever banned me, but I do know for a fact that my picture has been on the wall of restaurant kitchens before.
Really?
Was it a dartboard or just a regular picture?
I don't know the answer to that. I didn't ask that follow-up. I probably didn't want to know.
It's probably on the wall of people who have yet to have a review.
Yeah, I knew that. So the people who recognize you are never going to be the owner or the chef. The people who rat you out are the servers. Mm-hmm. Because so many servers in Omaha and people in the industry have worked at so many different restaurants. Right. And I've been around long enough that they are the ones who recognize me.
So if you go to Sarah's social media, and is it your Facebook page or is
I have all social media?
You have all social media, and she did the burger bracket and and the pizza bracket, was it?
Yep, we're having one this year too. Or next year.
It's really cool, and see who wins out and that kind of stuff, and who's pitted against who and all that kind of stuff. It would take some doing, but just like you said, you'll go to a restaurant and you'll recognize a server, and you'll be like, wait, didn't he used to work at this other restaurant? So it's a whole community, and it's people have done it for 30 years. Some people do it part-time. A lot of people do it part-time. A lot of people did it and stopped doing it. But I would love to see the flow chart of who was. I mean, it would be impossible to make. It'd have to be 3D and all kinds of stuff.
Sometimes
cool.
you really have to. Sometimes I really have to think through. Okay, where did I last see that person?
Right.
What restaurant was it? Because I know I've never been to this place, so it wasn't here.
And Omaha, by and large, does an amazing job. The restaurants, the service industry, and the servers are just great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, you will rarely see in one of my reviews complaints about service. Because I think by and large, the industry is really good. They know what they're doing, and they don't mess up.
Do you have when you go in, do you have a notebook next to you?
Not anymore.
Okay. So that's going to be hard. Well, now you can put it on your phone.
Yeah. I I used to use a notebook, but I realized really quickly that a notebook was not going to work.
Dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Don't mind the camera.
Yeah. I think on my first few reviews, I would have I had an iPhone, but I hadn't really thought through like what I was doing. So I would go to the restroom and like scribble down notes in a notebook and then come back to the table. But you can only do that so many times before people start thinking you're really weird.
Yeah.
She has some issues. I hope it's not the food.
So yeah, I use my phone.
But what about the pictures? Because you always take great photographs that we publish on growomaha.com with each one of your reviews. How do you do that without drawing notice to yourself?
That used to be really obvious. Like I would have to I would sort of try to wait until no one was looking, or just try to do it clandestinely. And when I was at the World Herald, I didn't have to do that because we had a whole staff of photographers who would go after the fact and take beauty shots of the food in the restaurant. But now that I'm doing my own thing, and now I'm working with you guys, I had to get better at that. So I started taking my own pictures as part of a series that I used to do called Food Prowl, where we would go around Omaha and try 20 hamburgers and see which one was the best, or 20 donuts. And I found that having the pictures on my phone was really helpful when I sat down to write, because I could remember, what did this one donut look like this one day that we were there? And so I've really been like refining the photos since then. And now I take all the photos myself. They're just taken all on my iPhone. I do request the fanciest iPhone with the best camera anytime I get an upgrade. So I have like the newest one, the Pro Max, and it takes really good photos. And if you learn how to like do some basic photo editing, you end up with some pretty good-looking photos. So.
They are good photos, because I've noticed that as we've been publishing your reviews, just how sharp and, how hungry the photos tend to make you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the photos really do some of the heavy lifting sometimes. Like, a person might not know what a dish looks like, but like the saffron Indian review, I got a lot of comments from people who were like, wow, that curry looks really good. And probably would have never even considered it without seeing that photo. So the photos, they do really help.
Pictures worth 1,000 words. And we are chatting with Sarah Baker Hansen, who is the official food critic and restaurant reviewer for Grow Omaha.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.